Hello students. There is a topic in Unit 2 under Structural Organization type study. There are two animals included. One is Ferretima posthuma, common name is earthworm, and Rana tigrina, common name is frog. In previous few sessions you have already covered type study earthworm, and now you already covered morphology of the frog and some anatomical features of the frog. In my today's session, I'll be concluding the type study frog. Frog is amphibian, adapted for both aquatic and terrestrial life. Under morphology, you already learned that it has head and abdomen. It is tailless amphibian, having a moist skin. In the head region, there is a wide mouth, two jaws, protrusible tongue, nostrils, tympanum, eyes which are protruded and protected by immovable eyelids. That's why eyes are protected by nictitating membrane again. Abdomen has unequal limbs. Forelimbs are short, tetradactylous. Hind limbs are long, pentadactylous, where the digits have a membranous sheath. Hence, we call webbed feet. It will help the frog in swimming. When you take a section along the ventral side and expose the frog to learn anatomy, in this view, you can observe the first system, digestive system. It starts with the mouth, continue with the pharynx, then esophagus, a dilated organ stomach, a small intestine, as frog is carnivorous, feeds on only non-veg. So length of the intestine is very small, terminating into a dilated region called rectum, which opens into the cloaca, and through cloacal aperture undigested mass is ejected outside. In respiration, gaseous exchange, frog will show three types. Cutaneous respiration, where moist skin will help in exchange of gases. Brachial respiration observed in the larval life. When frog is in tadpole stage, it uses gills for gaseous exchange, and the adult frog will use the lungs for respiration, so it is pulmonary respiration. So frog has two lobes of the lungs which is connected to the nostrils. These are nasoreceptors. Coming to the next system, circulatory system. It is closed type. The blood is flowing through the closed blood vessels under pressure because of a pumping organ, heart. So heart and the blood vessels comprises circulatory system in the frog. In the frog, heart is three-chambered. Two receiving chambers are atria, where right atrium receiving deoxygenated blood and left atrium receiving oxygenated blood from the lungs. There is a flap which comprises a chamber known as sinus venosus, which collects deoxygenated blood from all parts of the body and pour it into the right atrium. Both the blood flows entering into a common ventricle. It doesn't have intraventricular septum. So in the ventricle, both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood flows will mix. There's one more flap forming the sac, conus arteriosus. This conus arteriosus gives the mixed blood to different parts of the body through arterial system. When this mixed blood is flowing below the skin, gaseous exchange occur. So, frog is sufficiently getting oxygen via lungs and via skin. So though the mixed blood is circulating throughout the body, frog doesn't have any problem. This is an adaptation because of three-chambered heart observed in the frog. Again, when blood is collected from different body parts with the help of two vena cavae, these are the two largest veins, collecting the blood in sinus venosus, which opens into the right atrium. At the same time, from the lungs, oxygenated blood is entering into the left atrium. So, two receiving chambers are atria and distributing chamber is single ventricle. This is about circulatory system of the frog. Coming to the next, a excretory system, which comprises paired kidneys present in the lower abdomen. Comparatively, these are big kidneys, bean-shaped, having the fat bodies with adrenal gland at the apex. Kidney gives a ureter, so a pair of ureters opening into the bladder, and both bladder flaps open into the cloaca. So cloaca is a common chamber receiving undigested food, receiving the urine, and in the male frog it receiving the sperms. Thus, a cloacal chamber is serving for collection of feces, collection of the urine, and collection of the sperms. So cloacal aperture helping in egestion, helping in ejaculation, and helping in urination. As frog is excreting urea, urea is highly soluble in water, so a excretory component of the frog is urea. Hence, frog is called ureotelic animal. Moving to the next system, endocrine system. As you have already learnt that different endocrine glands like hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, different endocrine cells, pancreas, then testis, ovary, these are male and female gonads respectively, secretes the hormones. Same way, even in the frog, the hormones are secreted to coordinate all the activities. Next system is nervous system. Nervous system comprises CNS, central nervous system, and the nerves arising from CNS comprises PNS, peripheral nervous system. It forms a network of the nerves. In PNS, there are two groups. One is ANS, autonomous nervous system, regulating involuntary organs, and other is somatic nervous system, regulating voluntary organs. Thus, CNS, PNS representing the main axis of the nervous system. In frog, brain is along the dorsal side in the head region, having forebrain. Forebrain having well-developed olfactory lobes, cerebrum, and diencephalon. These are the three parts. Midbrain is a stalk-like structure which connects with the hindbrain. Hindbrain comprises cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and pons varolii. These are the parts of forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. From this brain, 10 pairs of nerves are arising. These are called cranial nerves. Brain continue from the medulla oblongata as spinal cord along the dorsal side in the central axis. This spinal cord will come out through foramen magnum. It is an aperture of the skull. Through foramen magnum, when the spinal cord arises, it is protected and supported by the vertebrae, which are connected with each other to form vertebral column, which terminates into filum terminale. From the spinal cord, the mixed neurons are arising. They will carry out the reflex actions. So, nerves which will bring the stimulus from sense organs towards CNS are sensory nerves. The nerves which will take away the impulses away from the CNS to different parts of the body to carry out the actions are motor. And there are some nerves which will carry out inborn mechanical sudden response to the change is reflex actions carried by mixed nerves. Thus, when we move on to the male and female reproductive system, this is very important for exam point of view. When you look at the male reproductive system, it has paired testes very near along the ventral side of the kidneys, protected and covered by a thin connective tissue capsule called mesorchium. Testes will produce the sperms in the seminiferous tubules. These sperms are collected by a small duct called Beeder's canal, which connects to the ureter. Ureter already told you that it is arising from the kidney. So testis will give sperms to the Beeder's canal. Beeder's canal will open into the ureter, and from the ureter sperms will released in the cloaca, and through cloacal aperture the sperms are released outside during the process called amplexus. The female reproductive system comprises the ovaries. These are the lobed masses. Inside, the eggs are produced or ova are produced, which are the female gametes. There is maximum production of eggs. One single female frog will produce more than 2,500 eggs at a time. To collect the eggs, there are oviducal funnels and they are connected to the oviducts. Both oviducts opens near the bladder, and from the bladder through cloaca the eggs will come outside through cloacal aperture. Rainy season is the season for breeding. In the month of June, if you see male and female frog, male frogs are very active and tiny. Female frogs are gravid and heavy. Its belly portion is yellowish, while male's ventral belly portion is whitish. Male will have vocal cords, through which it will produce a croaking sound to attract the females. In the forelimbs, near the digits, it has a thick muscular fold called as nuptial pads. These are absent in the female frogs. During sunset, when the ponds and the lakes are full with the water, I am talking about month of June, the male frog will go to the aquatic body, produce croaking sound by which the female frogs are attracted. They form a group around the male frog. Male frog will select one female, mount on its body, uses the nuptial pad and start pressing the abdomen. This process we call amplexus, and the male is pressing the abdomen of the female, by which the female frog is feeling easy for release of the eggs. This we call spawning. Soon after the spawn release, spawn is an egg mass. Eggs are in thousands. This spawn contains the eggs. Each egg is coated with the jelly membranes. They imbibe the water and it looks like a jelly ball. So there are many eggs floats on the water surface. Female frog will go after spawning, then male frog will sit on the spawn, releases the sperms. Even male frog will leave that spot. Now, in the water, fertilization takes place. The sperm fuses the egg. So many more eggs are fertilized, and after a few days, the larval development starts, and the larva of the frog is tadpole, which will break the jelly coats and jump outside, start swimming like a fish. Next, it undergo metamorphosis, where a tadpole will become a juvenile frog. This is in the month of September and October. The tiny frogs will jump outside the aquatic body, and in winter they undergo hibernation. In summer they undergo estivation. So they remain active during the breeding phase, 1 month before and 1 month later. Approximately more than 6 months they are in the resting phase. It is a period of inactivity due to unfavorable conditions. Like this, the type study frog is completed under the heading Morphology, Learning Externals, Anatomy. concluded with the life cycle. Thank you very much.